Yo, what's going on, guys? And right now, they've started the season, the New Orleans Pelicans, 4-17. And this is a team that they still haven't gone into like a gap year mode like the Memphis Grizzlies were last year, but they are approaching that. And either way, even if they don't, they should use this time to maybe see if they could shop CJ McCollum. I want to hear your thoughts down below before we continue today's video. Do you guys agree with me that CJ McCollum should be somebody that the Pelicans should consider trading? I think with Trey Murphy and Herb Jones being extended long term, they have DeJounte Murray, who I think is a really, really solid player who fits them, and he's on a very good deal, which is arguably underpaid. So let's get into it and let's talk about some potential trade destinations that they could trade Mr. CJ McCollum to, as I think there are a plethora of teams. And obviously I want to talk about the first one. I think the first one is the most obvious. If the Pelicans want to expand their championship window, I think they'll look at maybe going after a guy, not a championship window, my apology. If they're trying to keep their season alive and still be a playoff team and turn it around, I think the two best players, not saying that I would do this, I maybe let's say the three best players. I think either Nick Claxton, we know for the longest time that not CJ McCollum, but Nick Claxton was a guy that the Nets really wanted, and they didn't get him in free agency. So maybe they use CJ's contract to get Nick Claxton and maybe try to get somebody else off that roster. Maybe they could try to pry Cam Thomas or somebody. I know that's going to be a little expensive. So that's obviously one. I think the second one would be if the Bucks gave up that 2031 pick and it is a gap year for you guys, or if you could find a team like the Blazers to take on Chris Middleton and you take Jeremy Grant, I think that's a really realistic thing, because in this case you get yourself a guy who could really help you. I don't know if you guys hear the ambulance passing my window, but I think that gives you a guy that really helps you out long term. And then the Bulls, no, not Zach LaVine, heck no, Nikola Vucevic. So McCollum so far this season's only averaging like 19 points, and yeah, he's shooting well, 44%, 39% from three, but Vooch is out here averaging 21 points, and he's a guy who is also grabbing 10 rebounds a night, shooting 46% from three, and he's like a career almost 40% three-point shooter, so he's kind of the ideal pick and pop partner for DeJounte Murray, and he fits this team. Plus, you could maybe even see that CJ McCollum, and I don't know what contract you could package, but maybe you can even try to get Patrick Williams off that team in the deal and really help your team out a bunch. The second one, or not second, we said the Bucks for a Chris Middleton 3-team trade that lands you Jeremy Grant. I guess, that lands you Jeremy Grant. The second one, we said Brooklyn Nets if you want Nick Claxton. The Bulls if you want Nikola Vucevic or just Nikola Vucevic, or try to figure out a deal with Patrick Williams in there. I think the Lakers, if you look at the Lakers right now, I think they could give you an interesting deal. I think it's like Cam Reddish, D'Angelo Russell. It'd probably be Gabe Vincent and Jalen Hood-Schifino or Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is actually a decent defender. Like, I will actually defend him as a defender. So I think that the Pelicans really could do something like that. D'Angelo Russell, Cam Reddish, and Jackson Hayes actually could be one that works for them. As I said, the Bucks and the Nets. I don't know. I don't think that the Miami Heat would have any interest in doing this, because the Miami Heat already went out and got Terry Rozier. And it's too expensive for Dallas. Toronto for Jakob Poeltl with Chris Boucher. If they package Jakob Poeltl, Chris Boucher, I think that could actually be a deal that you might be able to. You get yourself a center and you get a sixth man in Chris Boucher. I know they already have a sixth man, so it works out well for them. But For the Chicago deal, you get yourself a guy who can really elevate your shooting with Nikola Vucevic and potentially pair that up with a defensive guy. I actually don't mind those. I really think that's not that bad. And CJ's current contract, I think it's a little bit much in my opinion. With his current deal that he had re-signed on that, what he signed a 2-year, almost a $64 million deal, $32 million salary. He has a 33 million. Let me make sure. What is this? Yeah, he's on 33 this year, 30 next year. As I said, now that we talked about that deal where it was, I really like the Vooch deal the best. The Nick Claxton is the one that I also like, so we're just gonna go with the first two that we just talked about, which was the Brooklyn Nets Claxton deal. And you're thinking, why would the Nets do this or any team? Because CJ McCollum becomes an expiring contract next year. He could either be bought out or he could be traded again pretty easily. So I actually think that deal is way more feasible than anyone would initially give it credit. Now, with the Chicago deal, as I said, Chicago's deal is a bit more interesting, as Chicago, $33 million. I believe Vooch is making 20. And as I said, maybe you can even get Patrick Williams in this deal and you get 2 players, which if you could turn that into 2 players, David Griffin is an underrated GM. Vooch 20, Patrick Williams makes 18, so you'd have to probably put in another salary. That other salary, either Daniel Tice or Jeremiah Robinson Earl, probably a combination of Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Karlo Matikovic would get that deal done, even though I love Jeremiah Robinson Earl, but he's an expiring. So I would do that. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Karlo Matikovic for Patrick Williams and Nikola Vucevic. That's a pretty good deal. The Brooklyn Nets one of Nick Claxton, he makes $27 million. And if you really wanted, you could either try to have Zaire Williams thrown in that deal, and then you get Zaire Williams restricted free agency and you extend him. That's not too bad. And you have I think you're just getting another wing. I mean, the ideal situation would be Nick Claxton and Cam Thomas. You give them CJ McCollum and a first-round pick, maybe 1 first-round pick, two second-round picks. So you give them 3 picks. 2 of them are second-round picks. 1 is a first-round pick, and CJ McCollum for Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton. I think that's the best deal and gives them everything. That really could turn their season around. But that's basically it. I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. If you guys have anything else you guys wanted to hear, let me know. I'm gonna peace out. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye. Yeah, I think that's... Do we have anything else that we could realistically talk about? No. Ciao.